Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let me remind you of something.
Those who can do. Those who can't talk about those who can. Now, can you or can you not? No, you just want to sit on the sideline to talk about other people, or can you step up?
There you go. Those who can do, those who can't talk about those who can. So which one are you? Which one are you? I guess I'm now one of those guys who talk about others, of course. So we're getting here ready for the Cowboys to have practice, not the game that we love. They're going to be having practice here. It's 11:30 on the East Coast, which means it's 8:30 out in Oxnard. Probably a little chilly there first thing in the morning because it is chilly out in Oxnard. Not like the East Coast beaches. It is cold in Oxnard, which is one of the reasons why the Cowboys like going there. They feel like the players being able to play in ideal conditions weather-wise aren't sweating themselves to death and can really focus in on learning. So we'll see how that works out for them this year. And it seems like it's been going so far so good, really, really well. But we've got the whole Micah Parsons situation, and we've been talking about it ad nauseum. Jerry Jones looks like he is the bad guy, regardless of trying to make the players look bad. It's Jerry Jones is the one who has egg on his face. And it's funny because you would think that the Dallas Cowboys are the only one with a situation with the holdout, but there are other teams that are. And as ugly as it seems like with the Cowboys, you at least have Micah Parsons there, who is part of the organization. He's doing individual drills. He's not doing team stuff, but you know at some point the Cowboys, after inflicting themselves with wounds because of no good reason other than Jerry Jones's ego, you know that Micah Parsons will get paid and will be happy and good to go. In the meantime, everybody will be talking about it. But nobody's really talking about the Commanders, who may have finally gotten a deal worked out with the stadium, although there are ones that are hating the idea that will still protest and still try and fight. And I'll remind you that that's exactly what happened the last go-round for the Commanders. But it seems like the Commanders are now facing their first major issue with Adam Peters and their GM with Terry McLaurin. And it seems like this is getting to be more and more ugly. Shout out to Pat McAfee, who actually is going through and discussing this on air. And I want to check in on this because those out there who are killing the Cowboys about Micah Parsons, you need to be killing the Commanders, which, mind you, are the over-the-hill gang. They are the oldest roster in the NFL currently. Let's go to the tape.
Adam Peters, head coach Dan Quinn, just recently spoke. Didn't get a chance to watch that yet since we've been on air, but we know Terry McLaurin, he's been pissed off about his deal, not sure if he's going to show up or not. Any update there, what's going on with Terry and the Commanders?
Yeah, Adam had his press conference this morning and was very top line. We want Terry in camp. We appreciate Terry. These conversations are ongoing, but let's really peel the onion back here. This has been the first piece of adversity in Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, and Josh Harris's entire tenure when it comes to the football team on the field, where there's actually an unhappy player with his contract. And this one's tough because McLaurin is the bridge from the dark days of what this organization was before these guys took over and before Jaden Daniels.
A lot of New York Giants highlights, which I respect.
Okay, well,
Neighbors might be a guy.
Garrett Wilson just got his number. Do you pay him what Garrett Wilson
more.
got?
Yes.
More.
Yes.
Or you pay him more? Okay.
More. Terry,
so
we are a show that thinks Terry is
I get it.
the guy.
I think you have him below CeeDee Lamb.
Everything he does, like we are a Terry. You want Terry in your locker room, we think. Like not that
teams like Philly, for instance, like when you pay guys like Jordan early, you pay Saquon when you don't need to, you play Jalen Hurts early, like that does something for the morale of the team. And when you have a rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, who's going to be on a rookie deal for at least another couple years, you bring in Tunsil, you bring in Debo. This is a guy you want to come in there, be happy about his deal, and get paid. Yeah, Garrett earned it. All these guys earned it, but Terry has
Shiggs
definitely
doesn't think Terry top 10.
Top 10 is wow. I got Terry top.
I'm asking if you put him there.
Hey, listen, I didn't put any numbers on this. I'm just saying, hey, are we doing that? That's what you just said.
Wow. Career year.
That's the debate,
putting him on
That's
blast.
the debate. Do you pay him based on what he's been in the culture and say, hey, you know what? We know we just gave you, a giant contract contract 2 years ago, but let's redo it and give you even more because of it? Or do you say, hey, finish the contract and let's see where we're at the end of this thing? And all I'm saying is it might get done tomorrow. What I'm saying is Adam Peters and Dan Quinn and Lance Newmark and all those brilliant guys in DC who have done everything right since the day they got there. This is their first fork in the road moment. And it just happens to be with the model citizen and the face of
That's
the
the thing that gets
franchise
you.
going back not only since they got there, but years ago when this was a team that was in the dregs of society and in the NFL. McLaurin was the shining light and was like, don't worry, you could put me on anything, you could put me out there in public and I will represent this franchise in the right way, when maybe previous ownership didn't and maybe some previous players on the team did not. So do you reward him for all that, or do you say, finish out the contract and we'll revisit this when we know what our budget is for next year?
This is Spotrac, I assume? No, what is this?
This is overthecap.com.
Overthecap.com.
What do they say? I can't read. I got the small eyes. What's it say?
Yeah, over the cap. So he's down at $23 million per year. He's going into his last year, so obviously his contract was signed 4 years ago, probably 5 years ago. Jamar Chase making $40 a year. He's making $23 too. I assume he wants to get into the 30s.
Probably mid-30s, I would assume.
34.
Yeah,
Right
he's
above
turning-
Garrett.
And I would like to let the Washington Commanders know, currently their name, whatever, that if you guys don't want to pay it, we would here in Indianapolis.
Absolutely.
We would love him back here in Indianapolis. And I think there's a lot of other players. And you talked about this being their first thing they've had to figure out. There was a strongly worded Truth Social post
That's right.
that they're going to have to they're going to have to figure out as well as they piece that stadium together. But I'm excited to watch them do it. Good ownership group can lead through a lot of things. You know.
We'll leave it right there. But here's the thing that I don't understand. Okay, actually, two things here. Here's part of the problem. And we say, well, the Cowboys could have paid Micah early and things. What happens when you're a situation like Zach Martin, who got paid at the top of the market, and then 2 years into the deal looks and says, you know what, the market has really changed, and I want to get pay reflected of the changes. You'll remember, Zach Martin had just signed his contract 2 years before and came to camp and held out because it's like, look at these numbers. And so you look at somebody like A.J. Brown, I'm sorry, not A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, who signed his deal last year at 25, and say next year, let's say that the price is continuing to escalate and it's over $45 million for the top of the market. Then you start looking and saying, hey, wait a minute, I am woefully underpaid. And that's the part that you kind of have to look at and say, yeah, well, Micah Parsons, let's say he got paid last year and it was $30 million a year. And now you're seeing, of course, everybody else is getting paid big time money, and let's say it's up to $50 million next year and was getting paid, say 30. You look at that and say, we got to renegotiate this thing because, I'm the big kahuna out here. I was defensive player of the year. I had 15 sacks and, I'm on pace to head to the Hall of Fame. That's the other side of the equation that we don't look at. That a lot of times you'll end up getting a guy at a cheap price, and then they're saying, hey, look, I'm woefully underpaid. And this is where we are with Terry McLaurin, who signed a contract 2 years ago, which looked like a great contract. 2 years later, it looks like chump change, and now he's holding out and saying, you're screwing me. So that's what we have to look at with a situation like this is, paying guys early, yeah, that's great. You got it out of the way. You're assuming that we won't have to worry about it for 4 years, but apparently when the market grows like it does, you actually do. So the Commanders, well, it's kind of crazy. When I don't get it. It seems like loyalty is no longer respected. And you have to say that Terry McLaurin, I'm not a Commanders fan, has been a team guy when they were ass, literally getting his lunch handed to him on a regular. He has been there, no questions asked, hasn't told, gone out there and told everybody how much of an ass team that they were or anything like that or demanded a trade. It seems like those guys, the ones that, take the bullets for the team, the ones that play and show up no matter what, they're the ones that get treated the worst. And here's where we are with Micah Parsons. The only knock that you have on Micah Parsons is he has a podcast. He's not out here in the streets getting in trouble, drunk driving or domestic violence or anything like that. He's towed the company line. He's been a mentor. He's being a leader on for the organization. He has showed up and he has performed. And yet those are the guys that seem like they have to fight the hardest to get paid. It makes no sense. It's kind of like when you're with a cell phone company for like 20 plus years, like I have been, T-Mobile and before that Sprint, that the people on the street here who haven't given you a dime, you'll give them a free phone. But somebody who's been loyal to you, you ain't doing jack for you. You're paying full price. And that shit is wrong. Alrighty, good people. As always, you know how we roll. We appreciate you guys. And we'll keep you up to date after practice. Not the game. Not the game that we love. We'll be talking about practice later on. And tomorrow, don't forget, live stream 5 o'clock, where we'll be talking about practice, padded practice at that. Peace out.